It looks like the new Ontario PC government under Premier Doug Ford hasn't made up its mind on whether it will keep its promise to ditch the sexual education curriculum brought in by the last government. And just last week they said they would, but now Education Minister Lisa Thompson says maybe things about consent, internet safety, and gender expression will stay. I mean, it's better than nothing, but still a mistake in my opinion. Social conservatives succeeded in spreading a lot of fear and loathing about the first sex ed update since 1998. The most common criticisms? That it supposedly teaches masturbation and anal sex, and that it teaches about and thus normalizes gender identity and same-sex relationships. So, time to dispel a few myths. The curriculum, which is 244 pages long, mentions the word masturbating once and the phrase anal intercourse 4 times. These words are used in relations to instructing kids exactly 0 times. The phrase anal intercourse is only ever used as an example of a sexual act which students should delay until they're older, and warn students about the dangers of contracting sexually transmitted diseases. And the word masturbating is used once as an example of a possible response teachers might give to a hypothetical student who asked about the physical, emotional, and sexual changes that they're experiencing from puberty. Not once are students taught how to masturbate or have anal sex. I mean, Monty Python is not real life. No one is being taught sexual techniques at school, I promise. And also, I know I may shock some people with this, but here goes. The internet is a thing and your kids are on it. Does anyone really believe that they can shelter their children from even hearing the word anal or masturbate? From there, it's just a few taps on the iPad and oh boy. If you were worried about little Xavier hearing the word masturbate, just wait until he Googles it. The other major area of contention, teaching students about gender expression and homosexuality starting in grade 3, makes very little sense to me. I hope we can all agree that claims of teaching children to be gay or anything of that nature are absurd. So what is there to oppose here then? According to the 2014 Canadian Community Health Survey, 3% of the population now consider themselves to be bisexual or homosexual. That's more than 1 million people nationwide. The LGBT population is more visible and accepted today than they've probably ever been. Religious groups may oppose the teachings of this, but all this does is limit children's understandings of people that they're very likely to interact with and live alongside of at some point in their lives. And regardless of one's personal feelings on homosexuality or non-binary gender expression, these are realities of the times we live in, and children should at least be made aware of what they mean. Better to understand and be comfortable with something than to misunderstand and fear it. And while the PCs promise to kill the curriculum, they have yet to propose an alternative. The 1998 sex ed curriculum, which schools would revert to in the interim, does not mention anything about same-sex relationships, consent, sexting, or gender identity. I also can't say I have much hope for any new curriculum Thompson, the Minister of Education, will eventually bring forward, considering that her second-in-command is Sam Osteroff, a 20-year-old devout Christian who still views homosexuality as sinful. It's clear the debate over sex ed is really a debate over values. It's traditional religious values butting up against more secular liberal values. And the loudest voices protesting against this curriculum were not white social conservative Christians, and though they made up a fair portion of those opposed as well, but rather an informal alliance of immigrants and first-generation Canadians from various religious and cultural backgrounds. Now, as a child of highly religious first-generation Canadians myself, I can assure you, I understand the concerns these groups have with the curriculum all too well. But I believe most second-generation kids, if they were asked, feel we should learn this kind of updated, non-traditional, and yes, Canadian sex ed in school. And like I said earlier, I believe people fear what they misunderstand. Personally, I think it's better when we choose to understand. Thanks for watching. For some more Comment Nation videos, click here.